Hi, welcome to Meeples on Meeples Holiday Extravaganza 2012. We're going to release a series of 12 videos. In each video we're going to talk about a different category or a different type of game that we might recommend that you could use to buy gifts for people for Christmas time. Games you might want to pick up for yourself when relatives are visiting. But each episode will be kind of a different category or a different type of game. So this first episode we're going to be talking about gateway games to get people into the hobby, or basically things you can play with your friends who are non-gamers.
It'd be great around the holidays have somebody come in who hasn't played a lot of games before. It's something you can maybe draw them into the genre with and build on.
Cousins, friends.
Yep.
Absolutely. So we'll get started. First off, I'm Brian.
Adam.
Andrew.
And Andrew, why don't you go ahead and start off? What do you think would make a good gateway game?
My first one I picked here would be Tobago. It's a really fun game. It's treasure hunting. Everybody loves a treasure hunt. Well, I shouldn't say everybody, but I love a treasure hunt. So.
And I'm going to join in just because we double up there. I also put Tobago on my list.
Honestly, I think we triple up there, actually.
And not only is it treasure hunting, but the components it looks really nice. The little really painted nice. Land Rovers, the trees, the stones.
Jeeps.
Painted Jeeps.
Not Land Rovers.
Anyways.
Like I said, it's a theme that anybody can relate to. Like, I'm just trying to find where the treasure's on this island. I get that.
And it's fairly simple rule set. I mean, it's nothing too complicated.
And it plays about 45 minutes, give or take. So it plays quickly, too. You're not going to bore anyone who doesn't like board games.
Yeah, first time teaching people, if you reach an hour and 10 minutes, I'd be surprised.
Yeah. What else you got?
I've also got Kill Dr. Lucky on here. It's basically a reverse Clue. Instead of trying to find out who killed the butler, you're trying to kill him, which is always fun.
And that's a great way to introduce it to somebody. Like, board games, these are kind of weird or complicated. It's like, you know how to play Clue? Pretty similar. It's not that complicated. And it plays a big number, too. It plays, I think, up to 6 people.
Yeah.
And we've used it, too, with new gamers before. Like, we had one guy in particular who came over, had no experience with board games outside of, like, Monopoly and Life. And he loved that game.
This is true, and he actually did want to come back after playing that one. So it was successfully used as a gateway, I would say.
Yeah.
All right, what else you got?
Chupacabra, which is a dice game, and that thing plays in 15 minutes?
Yeah, if you have 4 players,
you have 4 players,
maybe a long game.
It's pretty simple rules. I mean, you read through it, I think it's one.
The rules are on a card, and you just roll and match them up, and then steal dice from each other.
And it's actually really fun. It's pretty fast paced too. So I mean, you could just play a couple games back to back. Another one I got on here is Pitch Car Mini, which is not a cheap game, and it does take a while to set up. But the rules, once you get it all set up to play, is really simple. It's a lot of fun. You just flick it. And then you try to stay on the track, and you try to bump people off or whatever. And
I think we talked about this would be almost like a great college party game. You're all standing up around the table.
If anybody's going to be drinking anyway for the holidays, why not have a pitch car out?
Get your eggnog, get Pitch Car Mini.
That's right.
Have a blast with your family.
And it goes back to that whole an easy theme that's not going to scare non-gamers. You bust out some of the Dungeons and Dragons games. You have hundreds of miniatures on the table. You're going to freak people out.
Yeah.
It's little wooden discs on this racetrack. We're racing 3 laps? Gotcha. Good to go.
Yeah. Dungeons and Dragons, the word period, scares people. What do you mean I have a 20-side die?
What's a broadsword? Yeah, okay.
Last one I got on here is Castle Panic, which is pretty simple to play. It's not necessarily the quickest game. What is it, about an hour to hour and a half?
Give or take, right around
there. But it only plays 4, doesn't it?
No, it can play up to 6.
Oh, up to 6.
2 to 6, actually. It's pretty cool.
But it's pretty fun. You're just defending your castle, and it's cooperative. So if you got 1 to 2 people that know how to play it pretty well, you can really train the rest of the people without making them feel left out.
And the fact that you have to play together so much makes it so they don't need to know the rules really well right off the bat. You can
which was a conversation when we were making these lists, and we kind of compared. We made our lists separate, and we compared them. And I said I never really thought about putting a co-op on there as a gateway gamer for non-gamers because I thought it would scare people away. I said, your typical person who likes Life and Monopoly, and then you say, wait a minute, we're all working together, we're not competing. And I thought it would be confusing, but then Ian, another one of our groups, said, no, my whole list for gateway games would be co-op games.
Yeah, we started them on a co-op.
They won't ever feel like you're cheating them out or not telling them rules or trying to screw them over or whatever. You can help each other going around the table. And I was like, it makes sense. So I kind of wish I'd added some to my gateway game list, to be honest, after that. But
You got any others? Or?
That's all I had. You guys got anything else?
My list is actually really short now, so I'll jump in. I overlapped with Andrew a lot. I had Kill Dr. Lucky and Tobago on there. I think those are both great gateway games. I did have one little more complex game on there. It's a fairly recent one, and talking with some people in the community, I've realized that it's become kind of the big gateway game, and I actually got a chance to play it for the first time a week ago, and I'd have to agree, and that's Lords of Waterdeep. It's
now I'm going to disagree with you there.
That's fine. You can do that.
Tell the people the full title to the game, Lords of Waterdeep.
That's going to be the problem. Is the Dungeons and Dragons that you're going to have to get over.
It's Dungeons and Dragons. Lords of Waterdeep.
Yeah, but if your family's in town, you got it set up. Don't tell them what the name is.
They don't need to see it. Put the box away and have it out.
I'm not disagreeing. The rules said I was when it came out, I was like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be terrible.
I haven't played the game, so
but it does play really quickly. It is super easy. You go around one time and everyone has it figured out, knows exactly what to do.
It's a bidding game with a little bit of competition,
worker placement
type game. It's like Stone Age, but with more competition is the way I view it. And Stone Age, I think, would be almost another good gateway game because it's fairly simplistic. But Lords of Waterdeep, I think, makes it a little more fun because it adds the direct competition, as in you're fighting each other, you're trying to screw each other with certain cards every once in a while. So I think that makes it a little bit better, and that's why I put it on there. It gets that competitive part in there, so people that are used to Monopoly...
Just don't say, let's play Dungeons and Dragons, Lords of Waterdeep.
Get that thing set up, put that box away, don't let anybody see it. But that's the only one that I had different from Andrew, to be honest.
I would say excellent choices all around. Tobago, Kill Dr. Lucky. I had two that you guys did not have, though. I had Survive Escape from Atlantis.
Okay, I can agree with that.
Because our group loves that. We played it many times. Get the expansion. Because that makes it's a 4-player game, but the expansion can make it up to 5-6 players even. So it can play a fairly large group, very simple. It's just got that right amount of kind of screwing each other over, and if you're playing with a family and everything, you can have a lot of fun with it. If you're playing with kids, maybe don't go after them with the sea monster every time or whatever. But it can play...
They need to learn. Sea monster.
Tough. Just sink their ships. But it can play a big variety of age groups. Anybody could get into it. It has really, again, nice looking components, which always helps with non-gamers. If they see something and it catches their eye, like, that looks really cool, I always think they'll be more likely to play it. And that's a good looking game.
The one downfall to that, though, and I think Lords of Waterdeep might fall into this, is there's a lot of components in that one.
It's a lot of Meeples.
It's a balance between having cool components and having maybe too many, and that might be the one problem with that one.
And again, I think if it was pre-set up, maybe that would help, because it would take a while to set out all the island tiles, explain that we all have to put our people out. Yeah. So maybe if you had it all set up before, that might not be a bad idea. The last one I have for today's episode is Formula D. Again, it's a race car theme. Everybody can get it. Gorgeous components. Not too many. Just as many cars on the track as you have players. You can play as teams. You can play all against all. You can choose how many laps you want to do, so you can make it a short or long game. There's two sides to the dashboard. There's an easy mode, where you only have, 18 hit points total for your car, wear points they call them. Or you can break it down to you have to watch your brakes, your engine, so gearheads could really get into it. But I love Formula D, and it plays up to 10. Yeah, so another great game for families or people over for the holidays.
I think that wraps up our gateway games for our holiday. Is it extravaganza?
Holiday super extravaganza extraordinaire.
Be sure to check back later this week. We'll be putting up episodes. One episode every few days. We have 12 categories. So just check back and
the 12 days of Christmas.
12 days of Christmas. So be sure to check back for our next episode.